Dear Professor Walid Amer, thanks for joining us today. Please tell our audience a little bit about yourself and present yourself. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Professor Walid Amer. I am Professor of Linguistics and I teach at the Islamic University of Gaza. I have been teaching there for about 25 years, and now I still work there as a Professor of Linguistics at the Department of English at the Islamic University of Gaza, and work as spokesperson of the Great March of Return. Yes, I have lots, of efforts, social efforts done in Gaza as well. And I'm married. I have a big family consisting of 7 sons and 1 daughter. And I'm happy in my life, but still it is incomplete because, we are aged now, over 60, and we are waiting to come back to our hometowns and villages we were displaced from in 1948 ethnic cleansing war, which was launched by the Israelis against us. So we were dismissed from towns of origins, and we are waiting to come back to our hometowns, inshallah, shortly.
Thank you. And what is your hometown?
This is called Beit Ezra, according to Hebrew name, but originally it was Beit Daras.
Thank you, Professor Amer. The Israelis have made Gaza a murderous concentration camp. Now we should listen to you to tell us a little bit about the Great March of Return, which is costing so many lives and injuries in the last months.
Okay. The Great Return March is a very peaceful march. It is launched just to achieve a number of objectives, mainly lifting the siege. This is the first provisional objective. We are under siege for about 12 years now, and this siege is very disastrous. It is imposed by the Israelis against Gaza without having any crime. We are occupied, we are victim, and the Israelis are the victimizers. They shoot spontaneously the kids, the children, the elderly people. All peaceful marchers in this return march were harmed. We have nearly 25,000 people who were wounded right from the 30th of March. And we still have lots of casualties that happen every day as a result of this siege, which is imposed on Gaza, as I mentioned, for 12 years now. We need to get rid of this disastrous siege and this disastrous condition. We are suffering a lot of this dangerous siege. We have lots of dead or martyrs who were shot dead by the Israelis. We nearly have 225 martyrs who were dead just by being shot by the Israeli soldiers, the Israeli snipers. And, while they were marching peacefully and innocently in our areas, we also have 3 dead medics. They were killed while they were rescuing the wounded people. And 5 ladies, peaceful and innocent ladies, also were killed, and 1 aged man. So it is massacre, a true massacre committed by the Israeli soldiers against our innocent Palestinian marchers while they were expressing their right of speech. They chant, they shout slogans calling for the lifting of the siege and calling for the return of the refugees to their hometowns and villages they were dismissed from. And this is completely legitimate according to the United Nations General Assembly resolutions, mainly resolution number 194 and resolution number 273, which called very, very frankly to the return of the Palestinian people to their hometowns and villages they were displaced from in 1948 ethnic cleansing war. We are supported. We are supported by the international law, and we are supported by the United Nations General Assembly resolutions, mainly this resolution 194, paragraph 11. So our resistance and our march of return is completely legitimate. And what the Israelis do is completely disastrous, and it is considered a crime against humanity. Those people kill us every day, and they practice all crimes that cannot be imagined against our innocent people. Our call for the international community to stop the terrorism and racism, along with the harsh and harmful policy of the Israeli forces, which are practiced against us every now and then.
Certainly, the General Assembly of the United Nations in 1947, on November 29, had no right whatsoever for a partition of Palestine. And it was on the same day that the Zionist forces started the expulsion and the killing of 750,000 Palestinians, the same day of the vote in the United Nations Full Assembly. This is a grave breach of law and of international peace and understanding, and of course, Palestine is suffering to this day from these terrible crimes.
Yes.
Dear Professor Walid, when you were personally at the Gaza enclave fence, have you personally witnessed violence from the side of the Israeli army?
Definitely. I always go to witness or to participate in the Great Return March every Friday, and I see lots of violence comes from the Israeli side. They shot and wounded a lot of people in front of me, and one day, or say maybe about 3 or 4 Fridays ago, I witnessed a person who was a journalist. He was shot dead. He was shot in the head by an Israeli sniper deliberately, and he was killed on spot. I mean, our Palestinian journalist, while introducing his interview. So this is very, very criminal, and it is an unfair situation. We speak about civilian people who participate in this peaceful march, calling for legitimate rights, to come back to their hometowns and villages they were dismissed from. And this right is achieved or is accredited by the United Nations General Assembly in a number of resolutions. Also, we call those people who come to the March of Return in the return camps to the east of Gaza, they call for lifting the siege, which is very murderous, very dangerous. It caused lots of casualties in the side of the Palestinian people. At the same time, we under this siege, live in grinding poverty, and most of people live from hand to mouth. Our economy is completely devastated, and life is unbearable. So what crime did the Palestinian people, or say the Palestinian victims, commit in order to be blockaded for a long, long time like this?
Dear Professor Walid, as you are informed, I have started to communicate with the leadership of Hamas to make sure that Hamas is consulting about a written guarantee for the safety and the equal footing of the Jewish population under a possible Palestinian government, wherever that is, in a two-state solution, in a one-state solution, whenever there are Jews under Palestinian rule, they should have the equal situation with all other Palestinians, and they have a full security and safety that it is sure that there will be no harm for the Jews. On the other side, I do, as the second part of this two-pronged approach, push the Jewish organizations, the BDS, boycott, divestment, sanctions movement, human rights organizations all over the world, to immediately lift the criminal, illegal, brutal, murderous siege of Gaza. Immediately. This is the turn. So there are these two ways. Ask Hamas to give this guarantee and ask the others to push for the lifting of the siege immediately. What is your opinion about this, Professor Amir?
First of all, I am the spokesman of the Great March of Return. I am not the spokesperson of Hamas. But at the same time, I am sure and confident, I can confidently confirm that our Palestinian people, if they return back to their hometowns and villages they were dismissed from, we speak about the Palestinian refugees, I am sure that if they are treated on equal footing with all races in Palestine, all sectors who live in this land, in the Holy Land, I am sure that there will be justice for all people, regardless their religions, their races, or their origins. We become one nation. We will be protected by the jurisdiction, one jurisdiction that protects the rights of all people who live in the Holy Land. We are the majority, we are more than 12 million people now, 12 million Palestinians living in Gaza, the West Bank, and the land of diaspora. We have the right to come back to our hometowns and villages according to the international community, to the international laws accredited by the issued by the United Nations General Assembly, mainly Resolution number 194 and Resolution number 273. They call very frankly and very clearly for the return of the Palestinian people, Palestinian refugees, to their hometowns and villages they were displaced from. So if that happened, I am sure that security, peace will prevail in all Palestine for all people living in the area. And I am sure that if this problem is solved, the international community will live peacefully.
Dear Professor Amir, what I'm asking, in fact, from Hamas to give as guarantee of security and equal situation, equal legal situation, as we all understand, is something which Israel now, Tel Aviv, is not giving to the Palestinians. There is no security at all. They're being killed all the time, oppressed all the time, starved all the time, and there's no equal rights for Palestinians. Neither in Israel nor in the West Bank, of course, Golan Heights, Eastern Jerusalem, nothing. Under occupation they are. So we understand. I asked something from Hamas which Israel is denying to the Palestinians today. Are you confident that once, the final solution comes closer to Palestine, that there's full Palestinian rule, that the Palestinians are ready to give this justice, which is denied by Israel, then to the Jews afterwards when the Palestinians are ruling? What is your feeling about that, Professor Amir?
According to the charters of all factions, all Palestinian factions that work in our resistance here in Palestine, I'm sure that they will give complete freedom and complete rights to all races, to all people who live in the Holy Land. This is our land, and we are looking to live in it just peacefully and in complete justice for all races, including the Jews who live among us as citizens. So I am sure that our factions, or say our resistance organizations, or say the future rule, which will be for Palestinians on their land, I'm sure this government, this future Palestinian government will guarantee fully the rights of all races who live in Palestine. Muslims, Jews, and Christians.
Thank you very much. And you personally, Professor Amer, do you approve of such a situation? Do you like this? Do you like the security guarantee? Are you in favor of a Palestinian rulership guaranteeing safety and equal footing to all other religions, races, and so on?
Certainly, yes. Yes, this is our hope, inshallah. We hope to have this be fulfilled very shortly.
Thank you very much, Professor Amer. All the best to you, to the Gaza Enclave.
Thank you, and you too. Thank you very much for this meeting.